Welcome to this week's practice. We're not going to go through an entire practice today, but what I want you to really start to internalize and experience in your own body and in your own postures is this idea of effort and ease, or steadiness and ease, what we get from Patanjali's definition and explanation of asana in the Yoga Sutra. So what does it mean to feel both steadiness and ease or comfort in a posture? One of my favorite postures to play with when it comes to these principles is plank, because plank requires a lot of effort, a lot of strength, a lot of steadiness in the core, in the center of the body. And when I ask you to also experience ease or comfort in plank, at first, a lot of practitioners have trouble imagining what that might look like, what that might feel like. And so that's what I want us to really get into today in this practice. I want you to start lying down on your back in whatever way is most comfortable for you. So perhaps an Ardha Shavasana or a half Shavasana with the soles of your feet on the ground and your knees facing up towards the ceiling. And let your hands either rest down by your side, or you can place your hands on your belly. I want you to take a few moments to really get connected to your breath. So as you inhale, you feel this expansion of the breath outward into the belly, into the sides of the ribs, up into the chest. And as you exhale, you feel that subtle drawing in, the release, the letting go. Inhale, expand. Exhale, release. Do this a few times. And with the hands on the body, you can feel the feedback of the breath expanding into the hands. You could place the hands a little bit higher up onto the ribs to feel that expansion outward into the ribs. And again, this is subtle, so don't worry about there not being massive amounts of movement here. So what I want you to get a feel for as you are breathing in and out is feeling the effort of the breath, the steadiness of the breath, but also feeling for this sense of ease in your breathing. So just focusing on the breathing right now. Do you feel the steadiness? And can you connect with a sense of ease or comfort to your breathing here? Now, this is something that you can continue to practice. It's something that you can practice every time you get on your mat. And if you're not quite connecting with this sense of steadiness and ease in your breath, by all means, pause the video for a moment and continue taking some breaths here. But if you've got a good idea of what this connection might feel like for you in your body, go ahead and take your knees and place them over your hips, with the shins parallel to the ground. So we're going to add in a component of strength, add in a little bit more of this effort, and see if we can also find the steadiness and the ease when we're having to work a little bit harder. We'll move into an isometric hold to work into the core here. So you'll place your palms against the thighs and gently press the palms into the thighs and the thighs back into the palms. The legs and the arms aren't actually going to move, but this will turn on your deep core muscles, the lowest part of the core. I want you to see if you can maintain a tiny amount of space underneath the low back so that you know that your low back is maintaining a neutral position and not flattening down to the ground. So we don't want to press the low back into the mat here. I want you to keep the low back in a neutral position with just a tiny bit of space underneath the low back. Press the palms into the hands back into the thighs into the palms back into the thighs. Feel that connection in your core, the core muscles turning on.
But then you also have to find a place to breathe. Where is the ease going to come from here? Now, I always joke with my students, you can totally cheat in this exercise because I can't really tell what you are experiencing or sensing here. I can't tell how hard you're working. So you have to find your own balance so that you can feel the core, the steadiness, the effort. But you also give yourself enough space and room to breathe, and that's where it might be helpful to breathe into the rib cage and the sides of your body, because your lowest part of your core is working hard to maintain the steadiness that your back needs for the support here, so that the back can remain stable, the spine remains stable. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, hug the knees into your chest, and you can rock side to side to massage the low spine. So again, if this is something you need to continue to practice, feel free to pause the video and take a couple rounds here, maybe just trying 5 or 10 breaths in that isometric hold. Now I want you to hold underneath your knees, and as you inhale, straighten your heels up towards the ceiling, straighten the legs. As you exhale, hug the knees back down into the ground, into your chest. And inhale, straighten the heels up towards the ceiling again. Exhale, hug the knees down into the chest. Now continue here at your own pace, and what I want you to find here is the connection between your breathing and your movement. So as you inhale, you begin the inhale, you start to straighten the legs to the ceiling. You begin the exhale, you start to hug the knees into your chest. Until you complete the exhale, then you start the inhale, lift the heels up. This is a true connection, a true flow of the breath and the movement. So we're not rushing here. We're really moving quite mindfully with the breath. Try one more round. Then keep the knees hugged in, deep breath in. And roll over onto one side into a fetal position. I want you to rest your head on your arm here. You can bend your knees as much as you need so that you feel comfortable. And I want you to come back to your deep breathing, feeling the breath expand into the ribs. And if it's helpful, you can place your hand on your ribs to receive some of that feedback. And sense your breath. Now we're in a different position. So the effort and the steadiness of the breath might feel a little bit different in the body. And likewise, the calmness, the ease, the way you're able to connect to that sensation might feel a little bit different in the body. But it's important that as we switch positions, we're able to come back to that connection with both the steadiness and the ease. And that's what makes asana so interesting as a practice. It's also what makes it nice to stay for a few breath cycles in each posture and not just move through things so quickly. We miss out on so much information, and really that information is communication to ourselves about what's really going on. And once you get comfortable with this idea of steadiness and ease lying on your side, we'll up the challenge and move into a side plank from here. So you can place one palm on the ground and lift up onto your forearm, placing your elbow underneath your shoulder. Your other hand will be on your hip. You can adjust so that from here, through pressing into the forearm and the outside of the hip, leg, you can lift your hips up towards the ceiling for a side plank. So you'll take a deep breath in and expand, and on your exhale, hug everything in towards center and lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Now remember, we want both steadiness and ease, not only in the transition moving up into the side plank, but also then we'll hold for a few breaths, seeing if we can maintain that steadiness through the muscles that are supporting the entire body, but also connecting with the sense of ease that allows us to create space and possibility in the entire body and in the breath, and thus also in the mind. So a deep breath in to expand. And then an exhale, press through the forearm, through the legs as you lift up through the hips. You can place a hand on the elbow if you like. Maintain steadiness and connection to a strong core, but also find that place to breathe and expand into the ribs. Even as I'm expanding on the inhales, I'm not releasing the effort that's needed to maintain the support through the muscular action that's keeping this safe and accessible for my body. One more deep breath in here, and exhale, lower down. Now, let's try it on the other side. So simply roll over and load up so that the elbow is right underneath the shoulder. Adjust as you need. I'm going to place my hand on my hip. Take a deep breath in, expand, especially into the ribs. And as I exhale, using the muscular action, that's going to help me lift up into my side plank. Maintain the connection to my core, but also your back muscles are part of your core as well. Your hip muscles are part of this whole center of your body. So find some steadiness in those muscles to support you, and then see if you can expand and breathe into the ribs. Connecting with both steadiness and ease. Let's try one more breath here. And then lower the hips down to the ground. All right, now come into a tabletop position, placing your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Now let's come back to this connection of the breath. So start your inhale. After the inhale has begun, drop the belly, lift the chest. Start your exhale, and after the exhale has begun, begin to round the spine. Move through full inhalations, full exhalations. Let's do a couple more rounds here. One more. This might be challenging for you to start your inhalations before you start the movement. Start your exhalations before you start the movement. That is really breath-centered movement. That is breath-powered movement. All right, let's come back to a neutral tabletop position. Once again, we'll add in the challenge. So coming into bird dog, or what I call spinal balancing. Start your inhale, reach your right arm forward. Start your inhale again, send your right leg back. Now, core muscles are engaging here to keep us balanced, to keep us steady. I want you to continue to breathe. Maintain that sense of steadiness in the core, in the hips, in the legs, in the back body, but also find the spaciousness to breathe into your rib cage and connect with the sense of ease that your breath brings you. Or find that sense of ease somewhere in your body as a sensation so that you can both feel steady and easeful and comfortable, even if this is challenging for you. One more breath in. And lower the hand and the knee down to the ground. We'll see if we can do it on the other side. Now, because this is a different side, it might feel different for you, and that's totally okay. Starting the inhale before I move. Finding that sense of steadiness and connectedness through muscular engagement and effort. Just enough effort to allow me to feel steady, but then enough ease to allow me to breathe and feel spacious and open at the same time. One more breath in. And then slowly lower your hand and your knee down to the ground. Let's come back into downward facing dog. Plant the palms, curl the toes under, send your hips high. You can pedal out your legs here if you like, if that feels good to you. Reach down through your heels. Take any movement that you need. But then I want you to come back to the experience of your breath in downward facing dog. So relax your head and your neck, and as you breathe in, expand into your belly. As you breathe out, use muscular engagement to really release and let go. Find both that sense of steadiness in your breath and in your body, and also that sense of comfort and ease, even if there are sensations that are uncomfortable. One more inhale here. Exhale. Now gaze forward in between your hands. Walk your feet to the top of your mat for a forward fold. You can keep some space in between your feet and your knees as bent as they need to be. And let yourself hang here for a moment. Again, connect with a sense of steadiness, which maybe here is underneath the feet. At the same time, find a sense of ease, which may be in the breath. Maybe you're feeling some ease in the lower back. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. All right, so let's connect our movement in a very simple half sun salutation. So start your inhale first, and then slowly start to rise all the way up. Reach your arms overhead. Start your exhale, and then begin to fold down, following your exhale all the way to the mat. Start your inhale, rise up into halfway lift, lengthening the spine, engaging as much as you need to remain steady. Start the exhale and fold back down to the ground. Okay, we'll keep doing that. So start the inhale, rise up, arms overhead. Keep breathing in until you can't go any further. Then start your exhale and slowly fold all the way down to the ground, all the way to the end of the exhale. Start the inhale, rise, halfway lift. Start the exhale, fold. Let's do one more round. Inhale. Start the exhale. Start the inhale, halfway lift. Start the exhale, fold. And then hang out in your fold. Plant the hands. Now let's come back into a crescent lunge. Step your left foot back behind you. You can lower the left knee to the ground if you'd like. Start your inhale and then rise up into a crescent moon. Reach your arms overhead. So there's a balance component here. We need steadiness. We need muscular effort and engagement to help us find that steadiness. But at the same time, we want to experience the ease. So there's steadiness in the foot, in the legs, effort to help us feel balanced, feel centered. There's support from the core. But in the upper body, we want to feel easeful and open and spacious. So breathe into the ribs, up into the chest, while you maintain connection and integrity in the core and in the lower body. And it all comes together and is integrated through your center, your actual literal center of the body. This is Patanjali's asana. Sthira sukha, steadiness, effort, and also comfort and ease. Start your exhale. Release the hands down to the ground. Step forward into a forward fold. Release. Come into a halfway lift. Neutralize the spine. Exhale, fold back down. Now, step your right foot back behind you, lower the right knee down to the ground, start your inhale, and then move into your crescent moon. Connect with the lower body, the effort, the muscular engagement that's helping to keep you centered and balanced. And then, at the same time, without losing that steadiness, allow there to be spaciousness, openness, ease, and comfort in the upper body. So maybe you open up the arms to drop the shoulders. You bend the elbows. You maintain some effort in the fingers so they're not just drooping, right? But they're not so ridiculously effortful that it takes away from your experience of the ease and the comfort in this crescent moon. Take a deep breath in. And then begin your exhale
And then start to move. Release the hands down to the ground. Step forward into your high plank. Start your inhale, move into halfway lift. Start your exhale, fold back down. Now we come to our high plank position. Step back into your high plank. If you need to lower down to your knees, you're welcome to do so. A lot of muscular engagement and effort happening here to support your spine, to support all of your body. But we still need to be able to breathe. So find that spaciousness through the ribs. Expand into the ribs as you maintain the core connection, not just in the belly, but also the sides of the body hugging in, the back body muscles hugging in towards the mat. But not so effortful that it takes away from our ability to breathe. And maybe not as deeply as we would breathe when we're lying on our backs, but deep enough that we can access that sense of comfort, that sense of ease that our breath brings us when we're lying on our back. And yes, it's challenging, and it's hard, and our heart rate might be rising, and our breath might become a little bit shorter, but can we still come back to comfort, to ease? And when we've fully lost it, maybe we know it's time to rest. Try one more breath here. Child's pose. See if you can start the exhale and then lower the knees down to the ground. Send the hips down towards the heels. Come back to sensing the expansion of your inhales into the lower back. Allow for full exhalations. Let the breath be steady. Just enough effort to help you really lengthen the inhales and the exhales to a point where you feel like you're really getting some of those more relaxation benefits out of the breath. But there's enough ease so that you really can settle into that sense of relaxation without feeling like the breathing is becoming labored or effortful and taking you away from the relaxation that you are perhaps seeking. And one more deep breath in here. And a full breath out. And slowly come on up to seated. Come to a comfortable seated position. So all of these different exercises that we went through are things that you can continue to practice on your own, together as a full sequence or individually if there was one piece that you really want to look at more. And I encourage you to play around with these ideas in your own teaching. What it might look like to ask your students to connect with a sense of steadiness in their breathing, what it might look like to connect with a sense of ease in challenging postures, and what it might look like in your practice and in teaching to ask yourself or your students to start the breath first before you begin the movement. I look forward to talking with you more about these ideas. Namaste.